I honestly thought that you were going to come in here like Coach O and start taking your shirt off.
I would love to. I mean, do I need to?
Please, dear Lord, do not.
Everybody would start making Chewbacca noises. Yeah, because
I mean, Coach O got 30 seconds into the bourbon and his shirt was off. You got to know that that's happening. Don't invite Unc to the wedding because Unc's shirt's coming off unless you're okay with Unc's shirt coming off. I mean, he 100% had a drink in his hand, and it didn't look like water.
Of course. And I'm sure the bride and groom enjoyed it. Here's what I would say, though.
Could you imagine if you tell everybody, hey, remember the 2019 LSU team and the head coach there? Well, he came to my wedding and took his shirt off. What's your cool wedding story?
I will say, if you're not Coach O, don't do that.
Right, yeah, my shirt ain't coming.
And you could do it anywhere else, but as someone who works in the wedding industry, always make the bride and groom the center of attention at all times. But if you're a celebrity, do it because everyone's going to talk about it until the end of time. So I was fine with it. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think LSU fans have any malice for Coach O, right? Like, I mean, I'm cool with him. I mean, I hate the way the last 2 years ended, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, all right, Coach, go do what you do, baby. You know?
Yeah, and I don't think LSU fans have any more malice towards Nick Saban. I'm serious.
Not now. Not after this weekend.
I mean, look.
Not after he got inducted and talked about that whole speech about how I was always proud seeing LSU because of, what we built. I mean, yeah, that got people emotional.
Yes, and I understand, like, Nick, put us in a body bag for a decade, basically. He got the thing started. And he made sure to include that this was a 3-8 team when he came and took it over. But it's also important to point out, Blake, how important the wives are of every single one of the coaches. Because, if Terry didn't do the recruiting trip for him, he's never here. So it's crazy to look back on that.
Crazy to hear stories like Nick Saban meeting the LSU administration in Memphis, so no one knew that he, it's just all crazy, dude. It's all crazy to hear stuff like that now, because Nick Saban flies to. If Nick Saban if LSU's in a coaching search and Nick Saban, like even now, Nick Saban flies to Baton Rouge, people are going to freak out.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think. I think some Alabama fans felt uncomfortable when he took his first photo in the practice facility earlier this year in game day, and they're like, "Wait, could Nick come back one day to LSU?"
I'd offer him $20 million, and I wouldn't blink an eye.
Yeah, it is crazy how underpaid he was. As wild as that sounds, even though his Mercedes dealership stuff is just absolutely insane right now, but yeah, I mean, he's the guy that got it going, and as much as people hate him for going to the rival and all that stuff, someone really had to kickstart it. And obviously, there's more than just him. It's Kev Falk. It's a whole thing. But it's just amazing hearing him tell that story. And Miss Terry's the main reason why, because of her convincing him to come down.
Really good story. Really just interesting to hear. Glad that, we can kind of get through that. Definitely makes the Bama game change a little bit. Yeah. That's for sure. Carter, Garrett Nussmeier has been in the I was going to talk about this earlier, but couldn't get to it because we're talking a lot of baseball and recruiting stuff. Garrett Nussmeier has been at the Manning Passing Academy this past week. I thought that there were some things that he said that really perked my interest. I felt a little bit different level of maturity from him than maybe in the past. Am I off there? I mean, hey, because he said 3 things that really stood out to me. Number 1, I cut up all of my old film of all my mistakes last year and constantly are going through them, getting my lower half stronger so that I can be able to run better and be better inside the pocket. And then number 2, like literally talking about the character piece. So like, hey man, I think that we're more together than we were at any point last year. I mean, he's saying all the right things, more than what when we look at a Garrett Nussmeier from a year ago, it was like, oh, A&M Stadium's not that loud and all these crazy things that kept coming out. I felt like there was a lot of maturity coming out of Garrett, along with some talented throws and big throws he made at the Manning Passing Academy. I guess your kind of thoughts about some of the things Garrett's been out here saying the last couple of days.
Yeah, so let's start with, for me, I'm a Peyton Manning diehard. I have a Peyton sticker on my little microphone here. I always consider this like the first weekend of college football season for me, because it's so cool that all the elite quarterbacks are together, and it kind of reminds you of how these kids actually camp whenever they're trying to figure out which school that they were going to go to, right? Like Peyton Manning said something pretty profound, that 25 of the 32 starters were Manning Passing Academy coaches, like Jaden was a few years ago. And that would be the next thing. This, a few years ago, was like
Burrow was.
Yeah. And I think a few years ago for Jaden, this was a huge weekend. If you actually go back and look at the throws.
He went off.
Yeah, and you could see his throws were as good, if not better, than the pocket QBs that were actually known for throwing. And I'm not the keenest eye when it comes to QB mechanics or anything like that, but I remember just being floored at how different Jaden looked in that setting. And someone in Jaden's camp was telling me, "Hey, Carter, I wish you could see what Jaden has done this offseason. I wish you could see how hard he's worked to become what he is now."
Yeah, those 3D QB guys.
Yeah, and look, the Manning Academy was like the first time where you could see him throwing, and then you could see all the other quarterbacks throwing it. And Jaden really did look different. You can go back and all the throws are there for you. And Garrett felt that same way. You know, obviously he had the viral ball that went through the basketball hoop and all that stuff. But
shout out Devin Snow.
Yeah, hold the Mayo. And Todd McShay had a shot of it. It was insane watching Garrett throw and it look the way it should look, right? So it was a big weekend for Garrett. I do agree with that. And it's also interesting that him and Arch roomed together. Is this an SEC championship review of these two QBs? So overall, good weekend for Garrett. And I understand everyone would say, well, of course it was a good weekend in an underwear Olympics, but he really did stand out. Ask anyone that was there, they said the same thing.
I don't think I'm ever floored by anything that Garrett Nussmeier does from a physical aspect. Like, meaning, that's Garrett Nussmeier. Yeah. Can he throw a football through a basketball goal at 45 yards? Dude is insanely accurate. I walk out of this weekend not caring about the physical, but the mental.
Yeah, the
mental for me has kind of shifted. Like, okay, what did he say? I have been constantly going through my mistakes because I cannot do that again. Here is the truth, the way that Blake Ruffino sees it. I didn't hear Brian Kelly talking about those mistakes. This was the first time in the offseason that Garrett has come out and said, listen, I cannot do this. It cannot happen. Carter is music to my ears. I'm like, good, because it's never the physical. It's elite quarterbacks, when that light goes on, it's like, I can't do X, Y, or Z. I should have gone here. That is the maturity level where you go into the second year as a starter, and that's where it takes off. So that more to me, the mental, the character, even the silly little TikTok video of, hey, man, I love you. And then, the whole thing that they posted. Okay, I will buy into that 10,000 times out of 10,000, because that, for me, with him, is the biggest thing that came out of this weekend. Screw the Raising Cane's commercial. Screw Arch Manning's Daddy Cooper. Screw Arch. Screw Archie. Screw
No, you don't come after the Mannings.
No, I'm Steve Spurrier. Screw all of them, okay? It comes to a point where, for me, the mental aspect of what Garrett talked about was different. And that is a bottom line. If that translates into August, all right, you could be cooking with grease.
You do not blaspheme.
Steve Spurrier did.
Well, yeah.
I don't care about Arch Manning. I don't care about the reason I left out Ty Graves is because he's worth $9 billion. and you need money.
Yeah, I do need money.
We all need money. I mean, so again, none of it mattered to me outside of the mental makeup stuff. None of it, because we saw the Ole Miss throw. We've seen the progressions of what it can be. Carter, he turns the turnovers down. You're going to a playoff. It's a fine line for me of if you even cut those in 2/3, Carter, you might win the SEC.
Yeah, and this would be my major takeaway if you were to put a few things together. If Garrett, and by the way, good question by Jacques, putting Garrett on the spot about Brian Kelly. If Brian Kelly and Garrett say that, the head coach and the quarterback who knows this team, obviously Garrett's been here longer than even BK, then you got to make the playoff. If you say, because look,
it's the most talented.
If you say that, that means, you have more talent than a team that had 6 top 50 NFL draft selections and Jaden freaking Daniels. So you've got to make the playoff now. If you're going to say that and be that confident, it's playoff or bust this year at the very least.
Can I ask you a question? Because I don't agree with BK nor Garrett that they're Carter, there's 2 things that can be true. I don't think they're more talented than the 2023 4 first-round picks. 4. Okay? Yeah. A dude that almost got in the first round, the 34th pick, and Mason Taylor. So even if you want to borderline put him in there, Carter, they might be more complete. I don't think the word talented is the word that they need to be using. I think that they are more complete team, right? Like this defensively, I think they're just more overall complete. 4 first-round picks on the offense.
Yeah.
2019 had 5 total and 4 were on the offense. That's what we're talking about here, right? Like, I don't know if you're more talented. You're definitely more complete.
Blake, I got in a lot of trouble on Twitter just saying how much I loved that 2023 roster. So I don't want to flame the Flames here. But even if you look at
2025 hasn't played a game.
Yeah, but even if you look at it, if you were to put yourself in the same spot going into 2023, like as far as like a projection is concerned, before we knew Jaden was what he was, and BTJ was what he was, I still feel the 2023 roster is still slightly better because more often than not, I'm going to take the team with the first round left tackle that's on the field every single play. But all of that aside, to your point, it really doesn't matter, right? This 2025 team, this 2025 team has got to make the playoff. I've been a little bit more lenient. I don't like to be too playoff or bust because you can get very unlucky and win or lose a lot of close games this year and just not make it. But if you feel so confident that this team is better than a team with the first round offensive line selection since 1998 and 3 other offensive line draft selections that you all have to replace, then power to you. I just better see a playoff appearance next year.
No, Carter, I mean, not to argue. It is playoff or bust. Yep. You know why? You can't spend all that money and say that this is the most talented roster that you have and not be there.
Yeah.
BK went to a podium and said, "We'll see y'all in the national title game."
I'm excited.
I mean, I'm sure, but hold on. There's also a situation where you can't make that statement and not be there.
Yeah, and let me ask you this.
I'll give him grace on national title. I'm not giving him grace on not making a playoff then.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Let me ask you this, Blake. So I brought this up on Twitter, and I'm literally working. I stay up till 3 a.m. working on this. And
this is your tweet about defense.
Yeah. So what? And this is open to your lovely listeners. This is open to the powerboat company that's now supporting you. Well, what's the name of it again?
Say that again.
The powerboat company. I heard.
Oh, Henderson.
I need a boat, man. I do, man.
I need a boat.
We need to.
We own a boat, man.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. We need to recreate We need to create a spicy ad for them. Me and you.
We need to do. Remember in Step Brothers when the Catalina wine mixer and all that. Went on the boat. Boats and hose.
Yeah, but no. What do you? And this is open to your audience as well. What do you think is the big thing why the defense has struggled so much?
You haven't recruited.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call it what it is. Your entire 2023 class left you.
Yeah, they did.
It left you. You went. Here's what I ultimately think. I think BK overachieved because he had a special dude at quarterback in year one. He then overachieved because Jaden Daniels, Malik, and BTJ go off. And I think the expectations in the beginning of all of this, with myself included, which I was wrong in doing this, I think we did not realize when they had 36 scholarship players how bad of a rebuild that LSU really needed to go through. I think because Jaden and that team went off, they had to replenish, and they hit in the portal, and then they got killed by the portal. They hit with it, and they got killed with it at the same time. It massively upgraded them offensively, obviously, with Jaden Daniels, but you miss out on guys like Denver Harris. Deuce Chestnut, for whatever it's worth, went off at Syracuse.
Yeah, the year he came back. Yeah, it's wild.
The year that he went back to Syracuse, he went off. In a league that passed the ball a lot, you missed in recruiting, and that's why you ultimately got beat. I've brought this stat up all the time. The interior of the defensive line is where you miss the most. It's where you missed. Because of the simple fact, Carter, in all of the SEC losses that Brian Kelly has at LSU, they're averaging giving up 250-plus yards on the ground. It's actually 263 point something, to be exact.
Yeah.
So,
and all the advanced rushing metrics are really bad too. They're really, really, really bad.
All of them. Yeah, and that is where you defensively, you've gotten killed, and then you missed at safety. And you're putting so much pressure on Deshaun Spears as a freshman to come in here and start. They were like, oh, well, this kid can't play. Dude, he's a freshman. Y'all can't recruit then. Okay, and I don't mean that they can't, because they clearly can. I'm just saying you can't put all that freshman on Deshaun Spears that you needed to be there. Defensively, Carter, in my humble opinion, they didn't recruit, but they didn't scout at the level that they needed to get guys in here. Brother, you're in year 4. So and have a whole recruiting class that should be there, portal or not. So they're also, you just missed in recruiting.
And some of that is staffing decisions. I mean, they've made some very strange ones there.
They're about to make some hires soon.
Yeah. So,
and for recruiting,
here's what I'll say. And I dropped a 30-minute episode on my Patreon. If you want to go check it out, everybody that signs up, you get a Joe Burrow.
Well, what do you think? Well,
I think some of it is out of their control, and it's something we don't talk a whole lot about. This is so much harder to defend the SEC now because everybody has good quarterbacks. So if you actually go back and look at the early 2010s and late mid 2000s, right? That's the number one message I get is like, I want to go back to the Tyrann Matthews and the Patrick Petersons and Devin Whites and pick any era or year you want. And those guys were better players than what we had now. But there was not as many good quarterbacks in the SEC then as there are now. The level of quarterback play from the bottom tier teams has gotten way better. And what happens is life becomes so much easier when Vanderbilt is on the schedule and Ken Seals is the quarterback for Vanderbilt, who is Dookie Water. Instead, you got to go up against Diego Pavia, who's very freaking good at football. He's not special. He's not Johnny Manziel. But Diego Pavia is the third or fourth best quarterback LSU will play this year.
I can't go there. But continue.
Yeah, so you think he might be the best?
No, I think he might be the one. No, he ain't the best.
Yeah, So that's the problem.
I would not take him over Mateer, Sellers, Lagway, Klubnik.
Yes. So that is my major point, is this will be the hardest SEC schedule, also throw in there Cade Klubnik, that LSU has ever played at the quarterback position. Yet they have played better quarterbacks. There are quarterbacks like Johnny Manziel that they shut down 2 consecutive years, Tim Tebow, even Aaron Murray, if you will. But the bottom half of the conference is so much better at quarterback, and it's because of the transfer portal. LSU only played one advanced metric quarterback that I would consider to be bad last year, and that was Jackson Arnold. And guess how easy it was to replace him? Just go in the portal, spend up, go get John Mateer, and now they're arguably one of the better QB teams in the SEC. So while LSU has struggled with some of the talent and some of the coaching, it is amazing, Blake, when you actually run the numbers, how much better the SEC has gotten at QB, right? So let's just use one hypothetical. Go back to 2012, a great LSU defense. They beat Auburn 12-10 in a weird game in Auburn. Some of you probably remember that game. Some of you probably went to that game. And the quarterback for Auburn was a guy named Keel Frazier, who's probably selling insurance now. His QBR was 22 on the season, right? There are no quarterbacks on LSU schedule right now that they will play next year, Blake, that has a QBR under 67, which is actually a fine mark. DJ Lagway is at like 57, but I think most of us know he's going to be better than 57 next year because he was playing as a true freshman. We don't know what Austin Simmons' QBR is. We don't know what Ty Simpson is because they've not really played. But Kalen Green, out of all the quarterbacks that are coming back for their teams next year, Blake, has a higher QBR than a team that LSU played in the national championship game back in 2007, Tommy Brockman of Ohio State. So as fans, 2 things need to be true. You should demand more out of whoever you want to be running your defense, whoever you want to be out there playing for the LSU defense and all of that. But you also have to understand it is so much harder to be a good defensive coordinator because you don't have these weak-ass quarterbacks like we used to have in the SEC. So we'll see how they actually size up versus a brutal schedule this year.
Well, then you need to go get guys that can sack him.
Right. So you do need better players. I mean, that's one thing, and that's what they went out there and got.
I do think an edge that they did. I mean, you just can't give up that many yards on the ground, though. I mean, Carter, here's the truth. Under Brian Kelly, there's not been many. There's been some. There hasn't been many areas where I think of Ole Miss in 2023. They're just, when they've gotten defensively, they've gotten their asses whooped. It hasn't come in the air. It really hadn't. It's come by the way of either quarterback, zone read, inverted veer. I mean, that's where they've gotten obliterated. I mean, Carter, they've had 3 games in the last 3 years. They've given up 300+ rushing yard games.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, I will tell you this, Blake. The Baylor game, Sawyer Robertson is a good quarterback. He's very underrated and all of that. But you also got a pick 6 that he put on a platter for you that really, and Garrett played amazing in that game. But man, last year we were talking about, hey, let's get the young guys in. Let's see what the young guys can do. And well,
you got obliterated. Sawyer Robertson obliterated you.
Dude, he cooked you, and they don't have SEC skill guys at Baylor. They got good guys, but they weren't. Ryan Williams wasn't out there running routes. So, I'm glad that they addressed it. I'm still really high on Blake Baker, but you also just need to hope that some of the quarterbacks that you do play this year have bad games, or Blake, a lot of the quarterbacks do return that had good games versus you last year. Blake Baker now has experience versus those guys. He feels better about adjusting versus those types of guys going into next year with hopefully better players.
Ain't no adjusting. Lenore Stellar's going downhill. I mean, Carter, I don't think AJ Halsey runs away like you had safeties running away from him a year ago.
Ow.
That's where you come on. We had a safety that ran away from Lenore Sellers, had no interest in the world on wanting to tackle a 240-pound man going downhill. You have not. You know the play that I'm talking about too.
No, yeah. No, trust me.
I mean, so you get back, bro. They were scared. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be. He was scared. So you get to a place where it's not only that. I just feel like that you had a lack of, like, you got punched in the mouth and you didn't want to respond. That's a culture thing. That's a pride thing.
So do you think that what's your opinion of the quarterbacks that are new? Not Arch, but Simmons, Simpson, and Stockton. I mean,
the Mannings, Ty Simpson was the best overall thrower in the camp. Take that for what you will.
So, do you think all three of those will be good QBs in your?
I mean, I think here's what I think about Ole Miss. I do not want to take the Mannings on the Simpson thing. I need to see it with my own eyes. Name a time that Lane Kiffin, even going back to Bama, has gotten wrong at quarterback. Matt Corral, Jackson Dart. If Jackson Dart is if Matt Corral is the lowest floor that we're going to get from Ole Miss at quarterback, my brother in Christ.
No, it's scary. It's
right.
It is scary to think about. Really,
the kid graduated college in 2 years and enrolled early. This kid can throw it, man. I mean, they didn't go back and watch that drive with Austin Simmons against Georgia. They did nothing special.
They just ran the offense. They
didn't get. So it's against Georgia too. It is a drive, and you got to be careful. It's Georgia.
In the rain, down 7.
The rain, down 7. Quarterback might be hurt, and the kid went out there and punched Kirby right in his shit, and Kirby didn't know what to do. We'll see. I do think it's the toughest schedule in the country from a quarterback perspective. I don't think it's close. And listen, I'm not a big – I would put – stay with me. I would rather, me personally, these quarterbacks more than Diego Pavia. Just stay with me. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I would take Arch. I would take Klubnik. I would take Lagway. I would take Sellers. I would take Mateer. I would take Marcel Reed. I would take Austin Simmons. And here's my hottest take. I would take Taylon Green over Diego Pavia.
Wow.
Here's what I think happened with Vandy and Diego Pavia. Carter, they were still 6-6 a year ago. I understand everybody freaked out because it's Vandy. The last stretch of the season for Diego Pavia was awful. He had 7 fumbles that he gave up. All 7 were recovered. You may remember one. We only beat them by 7, by the way, and he got hurt. Spare me on the Diego Pavia until he cleans up the 9 fumbles that he gave up last year.
I also think you don't like shit talkers. I think that's part of it.
No, I don't. I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't like some of his antics. Yes, but I think he got a little overhyped because of him doing what he did at Vandy and them beating Bama.
Yeah, that was a defining moment of the year.
The season.
Anyways, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it really was. So, I mean, they still went 6-6. Do you remember the game that he played against you? Outside of
it was terrible. No, he was bad.
Outside of the first pass, he was god awful.
Yeah, he missed a few walk-ins.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
But yeah, over Taylon Green.
But if that's if that's the 9th quarterback that you're playing, if I'm right, and Diego Pavia, holy shit.
I understand. Like, I went on that long rant, but I guarantee I looked at this till 3 a.m. Because I've made this point a gazillion times on your show and on other shows that it just seems like the quarterback play is just so much better in the SEC. Now, I will say, once again, I don't think LSU is playing a Tebow Newton level of player, but it's just the floor of it, right? It feels so much better that 1 week you have to deal with Tim Tebow, and then the next week you get Patrick Towles, right? Like it's a lot harder because look, there's a 3-week stretch where Pavia is sandwiched between Sellers and Reed. That's hard as hell, right? That is hard as hell. It really doesn't matter how you really feel about all three of those guys. One thing you can't say about all three of those guys is that they're bad, that they suck ass. They're all at the very least decent.
Where you're not playing Kentucky and Calzada, you're not playing Tennessee and Aguilar,
or Prabula at Missouri, who I like, but still it's going to be a first year.
You better put some respect on Prabula's name.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, everybody just thinking little on Mizzou and Prabula can't run. Prabula will juke your ass. Remember the Ohio State game where he juked Caleb Downs in the middle of the field and like made him look stupid?
And
this kid can run.
And they got an easy schedule early, so he's going to get some cupcakes.
Zero with the easy schedule.
You'd never in a million years.
By the way, go ahead.
No, you go on. Yeah,
I was just going to say it's a tough schedule from a quarterback perspective. I'm with you. You. I would love to know the running backs that had massive games versus us.
Yeah, I mean, look,
A-Chain, Sampson, Judkins. I mean, I'm not throwing Milroe as a running back, but Milroe twice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who else? What else am I missing?
I mean, Ulysses Bentley. I know that's like a deeper cut, but him and Judkins both
tore us alive.
Bonnie blued us basically.
Oh, 1,000 men, not 500, 1,000.
Just destroyed us. But
I really do think Bonnie Blue could defeat the gorilla. She's taken a pounding already. She could probably survive a gorilla.
I knew there was going to be some juvenile punchline.
I mean, it's just the truth. She's taking a pounding. I'm actually writing that down for my comedy act.
Yeah, do it.
Remember that time everybody thought that,
Yeah, and the tomatoes will soon follow. I guarantee you won't bomb as hard as I did when I first started. You'll be way better than me. But yeah, I'm excited about this LSU defense. I don't want anyone to think otherwise. But we're talking about Prabula and how he has an easy walk-in. There's no easy walk-ins. You're starting with I do think Cade is the best quarterback on LSU schedule. Once again, this is not Lamar Jackson you're going up against. You can get it done. And in LSU's defense, per my breakdown of this last night, they have done really well versus the elite quarterbacks historically, as many people know. But it's just so much harder when you're basically playing an NFL schedule of quarterbacks, in that not all these quarterbacks are going to play in the league, but none of them are bad, right? So we'll see how it plays out.
Last thing I'll say to you here: do we have any super chats? No.
Oh, good. Get a super.
All right, let me throw this your way, okay? And I'll get you out of here. I agree with what you're saying on the quarterbacks. I think it's undeniable, brother. You can ask Megan. All weekend, all I did was break down Clemson, and prepare for what we're going to be doing after the 4th of July. They're going to make LSU tackle in space. And, brother, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you can't, they're going to beat your ass. Brother, again, hold on. All right, this is their first 20 plays. You ready? Mesh pass plays. Mesh, 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 crosser, mesh, mesh, crosser, mesh, mesh.
I love the theatrical. Let me go get my notes and then just give you everything.
Okay, hold on. You ready? Fade, mesh, crosser, fade, crosser.
Yeah, I agree. That's how they scored their first touchdown.
Mesh, drag, fade, crosser.
And tackling also is subjectively, anecdotally here, always toughest in week 1 because you don't hit. Yeah.
I was being sarcastic, but
no, I know that, but that's okay. I love the comedic pause of you acting like you're pulled up. that was funnier than the pounding joke. I'll give you that.
No, the pounding joke was good.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But I was like, I thought Blake was going to pull out some Brian Baldinger film sheet of all their plays. But you are right. They do love to run mesh.
Golly. AJ Halsey's the key to the game. If he's the starter, whoever that safety is in that slot, whoever's in the slot's the key to your game because they're gonna run that shit all night.
Hey, did you see they released the New Jersey numbers for the?
I did. AJ Halsey number 13.
Getting them 13 today. Lots of underrated DBs. Ron Brooks, Dwayne Thomas. Let's go 1-3. See Webb.
I literally might cry if I see a safety tackle receiver in the open field right when he catches the football. I might cry. I mean, I know you're going to cry. You're going to be texting me, Blake, did we just make a tackle on the open field at safety?
Are you going to the game?
I am not. Post game will be here. Yeah, here's a promise I'll make you. You ready?
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing for LSU football. Me going to Omaha is if they get in the playoffs and make a run.
Are you going to go to a playoff game?
I'll go. You got to make it though. You got to make a run. I'm not going to waste my time and lose my money based off of you not being able to perform.
Our playoff games on TNT, baby. I want to be on the TNT game. I want Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal on our call, man. That's what I want.
CW, baby. Here we come.
Let's go.
All right, Carter the Power Bryant. Appreciate you, dude.
Later, bud.
Peace. All right.